I can't remember. Is Greg gonna get on or no? There's Jenny's husband. He's sneaking away. Okay. Perfect. Megan's is in his recliner. All right, you guys. So, first of all, I'm Micah. We don't really get to see the other half very often and hear the spouse perspective. This is JD.
Hello.
And so we just thought it'd be a really cool opportunity for you guys to hear from someone else who's also in your shoes, who's going through all of the things that you're going through, who's dealing with the kind of the transitions and all that stuff. So this is like open book. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, ask them, and you can just put them in the chat thread. We'll get to them at the end. And Melissa and Jake, and did we decide if Greg is on or not? Greg is on. Okay. Do you just want to like unmute when you want to talk? Because obviously there's not like, you guys are on different screens, so I'm not going to be able to see you like hollering at me. So just unmute and talk. Okay. So I'm just going to bust through these questions first, and whoever wants to address them can. And we'll just go from there. So first of all, thank you so much for jumping on and for being a spouse to your amazing women or a significant other or whatever you are. I hope you guys know how much I love all of these ladies for real. Okay. Where's my questions? Okay, here they are. All right. So I've got a handful. You guys were good. So the first question is, how do your husbands help with the business aspect of your business? Do you want to answer that, or do you want one of them to answer it first? So basically, what role do you play in our business?
So I don't, like on social media, like I don't do any like the social media, like the actual, I guess, business building part of it. But I work out with Micah every morning. It's just our morning routine. I wake her up. And so, I mean, that's just been our morning routine for almost 5 years now. And then a big part of it too is I handle like books, finances. I mean, just help out any way I can that way. But yeah, I mean, as far as like posting and.
He doesn't do anything like with the business. No. He just helps with like the back end stuff. Like our investments and our.
Well, even like initially setting up our
LLCs. Like once you start to make a certain amount of income, you're definitely going to want to set up an LLC, have all that stuff set
just
up.
For tax purposes, liability. I mean, it's just important to kind of understand that.
So he deals with all that stuff because I don't.
She doesn't want to and doesn't have time.
Yeah. What else? What do you guys do?
So Greg has actually done Beachbody workouts before I ever did them. I did like one day of P90X and I was like, nope, peace out. And then I like found better ones. So he knew Beachbody before I did. So he does about the same as JD as far as like he does the workouts with me. He does some of like our back end work. Like he'll mine people is what he calls it, and find me people on Instagram and stuff. But I think every husband does it a little bit different, but he just barely started doing that. But more than anything, he just supported me and understood that this was a business. So there was a learning curve though, like because it's on our phones, a lot of times it looks like you're just dinking around and like checking out with the world. And he said, there were times he had to realize like I was actually doing a job and doing business work that actually produced an income. And so there is like that little learning curve, I feel like, of where you have to realize that what we're doing actually isn't just piddling on our phone if you're being intentional. And that was different because our culture kind of thinks if you're on your phone, you're being lazy and you're checking out with real life. So there was a little learning curve with that, but he doesn't do like a ton of posting. He'll post about his workouts, but he's not like inviting to challenge groups and all of that too. So I think it's just different for all of us. Do you want to say anything?
Nope, you said it all.
I spoke for him.
I'll just sit here and smile.
He nods in agreement.
Melissa, do you guys have anything you want to add, or do you want to move on?
I mean, I feel like, and Jeff can maybe say differently, but I think it's kind of the same as JD. He really does, like, we mastermind, that's a really technical term, but like we talk about the business all the time. And he like is the person that I'm like, you know, he'll say to me like, what do you need from me? Or how can I help you this week? I know that you're in qualification, or like, what are you guys working towards right now? And so him asking those questions helps me to open up and kind of share like where we're at. And so
Just to know if I
yeah.
just need to, that way I can just know if I need to take the kids away at night or whatever I need to do.
Yeah, and communication is really big, because I know for like the first year, I wasn't very good at telling him when our team calls were. So then I'd be like, hey, P.S., I have a team call tonight. And he's like, well, I wanted to go play basketball tonight, or I've got this and I can't help with the kids. Good luck, you know. And then there was lots of contention. So I think communication just about your schedule, what's expected, and it does make it, you know, more of a job. Like it is, you have set hours and you have certain things you've got to get done, and having that support and being on the same page is really important.
I just wish I could show up every day like JD.
No, I just say, but like, me and Micah, I didn't even hear you said, Jeff.
Just keep going.
Anyways, just going right along with that, like every Sunday we try to sit down, because that's helped us out a bunch too. Like she tells me like when she's got calls, what she's got going on. I let her know like what days I'm busy. And then, I mean, at least it helps us be on the same page.
Yeah, and I think that was a big thing early on, because there were certain things that you guys have to understand. One, this is a business, and I know it's hard to kind of wrap your head around that, like Jalen was saying. But so two, like the best thing you can do as a spouse is actually help your spouse treat it like a business. So make sure she's not dinking around on her phone. Make sure she's not just being, just wasting time in those things. Cause I feel like lots of people use the excuse that they're working and they're really not. So as a spouse, that's one thing that you can help them with is like, hey babe, are you being intentional right now? Like, is this purposeful? Are you moving your business forward? Like give them those little reminders, because I think that'll really help them. I know one of the questions we got was, how can I best support my spouse? And like, I think that's one of the things is support them, like give, like, I don't even know how to, like, once I decided that I was doing this.
Well, it was easier for me. Well,
Yeah.
And one thing with Micah, when she decides to do something, she goes all in. But at the same time, like when she decided to do Beachbody, she was already running a photography business, so she's already busy. But as soon as I knew that she was serious about Beachbody, which didn't take long, I mean, it was a week or two, it was easier for me to jump on board. And I wasn't necessarily on board at the beginning either. And so, I mean, it was an adjustment for me. And so.
Do you want to talk about some of those hesitations a little bit? Like.
Well, yeah, I mean, I grew up in a very traditional family. My mom was a homemaker. Even when we got married, I mean, Micah flat told me, she's like, I just want to be a mom. I want to raise kids. And so for me, like, I mean, we're married. I mean, we've been married for 5-6 years by the time she started to do Beachbody. Well, even doing the photography too. And in my mind, I'm still thinking Micah just wants to be, I mean, she wants to be a stay-at-home mom and all this. And so for me, I think that was my biggest hang up jumping on board, was just knowing that, okay, like she can still be a mom. She can still be a great mom to our kids. But for her, like she wanted something extra. And I mean, that was important to her. I mean, she just needed that. And yeah, I mean, it took me a while to wrap my head around that. But I mean, once I saw how passionate she was about what she was doing and whatnot, it just made it a lot easier for me to support her.
Yeah.
And so, and another thing, well, just going on, I mean, just people change. And so it's not, I mean, and that's okay. I mean, it was a good change. And I think we sometimes get so stuck in kind of like our routine in life that it's hard to
Embrace something new.
yeah, exactly. Because it's like I kind of had my vision of what I thought, and when she started that, like that kind of wasn't part of that vision.
Throwing a
And
kink
so-
in your plans.
Yeah,
babe.
exactly. And so it's just, and again, that goes back to the importance of just communicating, sitting down, like setting goals together. I mean, it's not my career. It's not, I mean, it's got to be like together. It's your family. And so you just got to be on the same page and talk about it.
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about reservations you guys had?
Can I just jump on that too? I think one thing for a lot of stay-at-home moms, I lost myself. And like, you can ask him and he will tell you, I wasn't the best person to live with because I felt very
She
isolated.
was awesome.
He's wonderful. He's trying to save face. No, but for real, like this was an outlet. And I think once he understood that this was more than just dinking around on my phone. And so when he went to live events and actually met the husbands, that was when it became real to him. Like this isn't just some game almost, like it became very real. So that's one thing I would say too, is go to the live events with your spouse, because you'll actually understand like the business, and you'll understand the mission, the purpose, and why us women are like so excited about it. But the jargon too, I think understanding the business and how it works. So when we're up against a deadline, they're like, well, what does that mean? Like, so get familiar with the jargon of the business and what it means, so that you're not like, I have no idea why you're doing this. Like, this is weird.
I'm talking about what your goals are. So if you're running for 1 star or 2 star or 5 or 10 or whatever it is, if your husband understands how big that is, when you hit 5 star, was it the first year or second year? Whenever it was, I had no clue. I just knew that it was a big deal. And so I was like, yay, 5 star. But I didn't understand it until it was about, I think it was Summit after. So 6 months later, when we're at Summit, then I understood kind of how the ranking works. So just, get your husbands familiar with your goals. I think that helps.
For sure. I love it. Okay. Another question. How many hours are practical for my wife to be spending each day on her business? What would you guys say to that? Does anyone want to answer? It totally depends on your goals, for one. That's the thing with this. It's like not a black and white. It's like, do you want this or do you want this? Like there's so many in-betweens. But how would you guys answer that? It depends on your goals. So that's the first thing. What would you guys say?
I just plan on, when I get off work, I usually get home around 4. I just plan on Melissa, like usually working from honestly 6 to 9 o'clock at night usually. I just try to occupy the kids, and I usually get them dinner, and honestly I do like the dishes and the laundry just so she can focus on work and push it and hustle and whatever else she needs to do. So
I want Jeff to come live at my house, because that's not what happens over here. And he just said, wow.
Good man.
We're the opposite. So I probably do work longer hours because I can't be as intentional. But usually come 5 o'clock when he walks in the door, I'm done. So yeah, that's obviously right now is an exception. But we usually try to be that my work stuff gets done while he's gone, so that when he's home, we can be spending family time. But that means my work day is a little longer because I'm trying to do it with the kids and do the housework stuff. So yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to the right fit for you and your family, and playing with it. And yeah, but when you're focused and intentional, I can get my stuff done. Usually I can get it done while my 18-month-old naps in like a 2.5-hour span, get all of it done.
My answer to that, right as you asked it, Mike, was I said to Jalen, well, as long as it takes, like whatever your goals are, sometimes it's going to take you more time, especially in the beginning, to work at them, to be able to gain momentum. And so I've been always supportive, but I don't think you should feel guilty for spending time and getting this ball rolling. And I mean, in the end, you're going to make money. So, and it's a business, so it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of effort. You can't do it an hour a day and expect to have success. So, I mean, the more time you put into it, the more time and the more, what do you guys say? The more diligent you are, the more consistent, more diligent you are, the more results you're going to have. So just like anything, just as much time as you put in, you're going to get out.
What would you say to that? Yeah. What was the question again?
Yeah.
How many hours are practical for your wife to be spending a day on the business?
I think it depends on what phase you're in.
So I
Because I know initially, like, well, again, like when she started, I was in school. I was gone from 6:30 in the morning till 5:30 at night. And so, I mean, she was doing the same thing, like just in the mom cracks. And so, I mean, she was working probably all day long. And so, but now, and I mean, there's some days like qualification and different things that are going on that she'll have long days, but I mean, she tries to set hours and she works a good 4 hours a day right now. So, and Mike is not in here to moderate.
I was gonna say I agree with you, JD. Like in the beginning, I was working a full-time job, so I only had an hour or 2 hours at home to even work because I'd get home from coaching volleyball at 8 or 9 o'clock after games. And then I'd spend an hour or two catching up on calls and the kids were already in bed. You know, I think we also came from a place where like we both just kind of tag team with the kids and with laundry and with dishes. And so that was something that was already kind of like in our habits.
Routines.
Yeah, routines. But like Jeff definitely stepped up even more when he realized, and I'll just say like, I think at first it was kind of like like you've got to get on a call again. And then when I started actually producing something from it, it was like, okay, like what can I help you with? Like when's your next call? Or, you know, you have to really show that your work that you're putting in is paying off. So being intentional and doing the work that you need to do so that you get results, I think is really important. But I know you were going to say something.
No, I was going to say the same thing along that. Like at first it's harder to do it. It's like, oh, again, you know, you spend all your time doing this and that. But then when it's like Greg said, once the snowball starts building up and starts rolling, then you can see the big picture, and it pays off in the end. Supporting, being patient.
Yeah.
You almost want to help them push and get going, you know?
Love it. Okay. What's another one? Okay, here's a good one. How long is it going to take my wife to actually make more money than she's spending? How would you answer that? Depends on your wife. What would you say?
Well, I honestly think it comes down to whether they're dabbling in it, like just kind of toe touching like in the water, or if they just kind of dive in and do it. Because I know it's like when Micah decided to do it, like she started making money right away because she was selling challenge packs and getting people on board. And I mean, it was something that from the get-go she believed in. And so I guess for us, that wasn't a huge issue initially because she just kind of jumped in and just, went all in. I mean, was listening to a bunch of leaders, trying to learn as much as she could so that, so that she could, make this, permanent. And so again, exactly. So, I think the biggest thing is like, and I know everybody's story is different because there's some people that kind of are in and out of it for a year and then all of a sudden they figure it out and then boom, they kill it. And so, it honestly, everybody's situation is different. And so I think if that is an issue, you need to help your wife, I guess, just go all in. Find her, I guess, vision. And
I will say, you've got to figure out what this is creating for your family together, not just for your wife, not just for whatever. Like you have to say, okay, like we've been wanting to do this as a family. Okay, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to help 10 people with challenge packs. I'm going to like you have to equate your Beachbody goals to tangible, realistic family life things that you want that are going to drive you to show up. And you can tell your kids that, hey, when we hit this goal, we're going to go to whatever. We're going to go to Disneyland. I mean, that's a big thing, but I'm just saying, like, help your kids also see, okay, when mom works, like, this is why she's doing it to better our family life. She's doing it for a bigger purpose. It's not just that she's playing on her phone. I think that's a big thing too, is helping your kids understand what you're doing and what it's all about. But I will say, if you are, I don't know that this happens, but I'm saying if you're a spouse that isn't on board yet, and you're constantly, because this happened at the beginning, I was like trying to do stuff, and he was kind of like making his little, oh, you're on your phone again, like rolling his eyes remarks. That does not help the situation, okay? So if you're wanting her to have success, and if you're wanting her to make something of this, don't make it harder on her, because she already has the mom guilt. She already has the wife guilt. She already has those things going on. Like, can I actually do this? Can I actually make this work? Am I actually good enough to be successful at this? And then if she has you in her ear also going, oh my gosh, what are you doing on your phone again? Like, that's just not going to help. So if you love your wife, love the things she loves. And if she's here, it's because she loves it and she wants to make this work and she wants to make an impact. And she probably wants to really do big things for your family. And this is a way to do it. The thing that I love about the business is, like, when I ask that question, how long does it take for you to make more money than you spend? Well, yes, it depends, because everyone's different, but the business is not different. The business is the same for everyone. So you put in the right work and you show up with intention and with discipline and actually apply the things that we are teaching your wives, it will work for you too. You just have to do the things and do them consistently. So the sooner, the faster that you guys can get on board just with supporting and loving and believing in your wife or your husband or your spouse or whoever it is that you're on this call with, the sooner that you can believe in them, the better it's going to go for everyone. So just, I don't know if that, for whatever reason, that was on my heart to share. So
Mike, I was just going to say, the quicker you trust the process, and you kind of hit on that a little bit, but the quicker you trust the process, I mean, there's some amazing coaches on this call right here. And Mike has created a team culture from her on down, that if you just listen to your coaches, trust them, and go and do what they tell you, those coaches that get on board quick are the ones that are making the money the fastest. So, like, just trust it. If your coach is telling you to do 10 invites or whatever assignments they're giving you, go do it. Just trust and go for it.
Yeah, like, not the pick and choosing. Like, it's not A and half of B and a little bit of C equals D. It's like A plus B plus C equals D. And that's when I signed up, we didn't have the money to be spending every month without me covering the cost. And so I literally told myself, Micah's clearly successful, meaning if she tells me to do something, that must mean it's important. So I should probably do it. And we've never had to pay for anything because I trusted Micah. I trust that she was telling me that it mattered. So just trust that we aren't leading you astray. We're not telling you to do fluffy extra things, because if you can't tell, Micah's like, no BS, do it, get done, get out, not do all this extra stuff. It's really just trust and do, and you can make this what you want. So bigger dreams, trusting the process. You'll probably go quicker than someone who's like, I don't know what I want, and I don't know that I trust that you know what you're saying. Like, it just all your perception. But like Mike said, the business is the same. Every person is different, and how you choose to listen about the business is what makes a big difference.
okay, there's a question in the chat about at what point in your business would you like look into setting up an LLC and stuff like that? So I'm gonna have you guys can chat about that for a sec. What do our CPA say?
I mean, it's probably when you're making, yeah, I mean, it's around that 40, 50,000 mark. But I think also what simplifies it, having an LLC, is especially when they start having, and by the time you're making that kind of money, you should have multiple business centers, because otherwise you receive a separate 1099 for every business center. But with an LLC, all of that's paid into one business. And then, so I mean, I've got And granted, like I've got 2 CBCs, but Micah builds them. And then she's got all of hers, but it's all paid into one corporation. And so we receive one 1099. It makes taxes, I mean, way simpler. Bookkeeping's way simpler.
Credit card, get a business card.
Oh
Do
yeah.
everything on that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, for bookkeeping, whatever it is, like we have.
Hold on, buddy.
Hey, not right now, bud. But anyways, I mean, we have separate, and I know some people, maybe you're super against credit cards, but I think if you're smart with them, they help doing books like immensely. And so, I mean, we have a separate credit card for each business. I mean, Mike has got.
Just talk about Beachbody, baby.
Okay,
We don't need to
sorry.
know about yours.
Anyways,
He's got like 12 businesses on his own, so we don't need to get into that. Just Beachbody. We have one Beachbody card.
but there's one card, and anything that's involved with Beachbody at all goes on that card. And again, I mean, for bookkeeping, whether you're doing it or you're paying somebody to do it, it just makes it.
And then obviously we
So
pay it off
simple.
every month, so it's not anything.
Yes, we never. Yeah, it's just we use it for accounting, bookkeeping.
Yeah,
It just, and I mean, you get money back, and
it simplifies everything.
yeah, exactly. So.
What do you guys? Do you have anything else on that, you guys?
Jake was laughing at the LLC thing because he was like, yesterday. So yeah, listen is what I'm getting at, because we chose not to listen and we did taxes today and listen to JD. Pay it out. Listen to JD.
Hey, so Debbie just asked a question like what card, or I personally do like a flights benefit one because you fly quite a bit and getting some benefits. But like honestly, I would just maybe do some research and see like what kind of card would give you the most benefit. So maybe it's a different card that gives you more money back. Like I'm not the best at that, but I would, if that's something you're really interested in, is like getting points and all that from, because you're gonna buy Shakeology every month and you're gonna maybe spend gas to go to Super Saturdays and you're going to buy flights for the trips that you're earning. Like those are some new Lululemons, he said. Then you'll probably want to like at least gain something from that. But I do a Sky Miles card because we fly Delta mostly. But I think there's lots of different options, obviously, and some of you are probably a lot more knowledgeable about that than I am. But I also recommend, like, I'm not very good at like money numbers, keeping track of numbers. So I hire someone to do that for us. Like we have a CPA and it's way like over my head. And I figure it's worth spending $100 and whatever dollars to have someone else take care of that than messing something up myself. So if that's something you're willing to invest in, I think it's well worth it. He does literally all of our bookkeeping. They send me a report every single month. They send me a report every single month that gives me like a breakdown of all of my expenses. They go through my credit card. They go through like our bank account. They do everything. And then I get the report, and it includes like our Venmo, our PayPal, like anywhere that any expenses come out of, they do that report. So it's kind of nice because that stuff I just am not very good at. If you're not good at it, like hire it out. It's worth it to delegate so that it's done correct. But like if you're like JD and you're really good at it, or
No, we delegate all that.
yeah.
But let's talk about delegating for a sec. Like what kind of stuff is a smart business investment to start delegating?
No one's gonna go. I think it totally depends on what you feel is best for you. So I have an assistant who helps with a lot of the stuff that what book says, like if someone, probably Josh Coates, I'm sure you got it from somewhere, but like if someone can do it 85% up to your capacity, you hire that out. So all the brainless type stuff that really doesn't matter if you do, you can hire out. So I hired an assistant before I felt I could afford an assistant, and it actually made my business grow because she was doing activities that still moved my business forward, and she paid for herself, and she still pays for herself. And I was able to kind of compound my business. So she was doing a lot of like the managing friend requests, expanding my network, sending messages and invites to people after I had created the list and the script and stuff like that. So I think it really depends, and each person does it different. But for me, it was the stuff that she couldn't do. She couldn't do my posting for me. She couldn't figure out the content of my group or the groups I wanted to do. So kind of just depends on the person, but that's what my assistant does, is basically a lot of my power hour. And like I said, I hired an assistant before I felt I could afford an assistant, and she has helped grow my business because she was doing a lot of things that I could then compound on.
Yeah, the first thing I delegated was a house cleaner once every 2 weeks. So I had one girl or a lady, she came once every 2 weeks to do the deep cleaning. Then we moved here, and I was also having a baby at the same time. And so I was like, I can't newborn life and run my business and keep the house clean. So I had a helper come in like 2.5 hours every day, and she would do the laundry and just like the picking up stuff. That was like the best thing I could have ever done. And what I found is when JD says like, I always just wanted to be a mom, that was totally like where all of my dreams ended. Like, I just want to be a mom and whatever. So I still had that sort of identity. Like I'm a mom. I need to keep my house clean. I need to take care of the kids. I need to do all this stuff. But what I was finding was like, I was driving myself crazy trying to do all the things because I just couldn't. I couldn't keep up with my business and keep the house clean and do the laundry and be a good mom and be patient. Like I couldn't. And so what I found was, when I started to delegate the things that I didn't like, I don't like cleaning, but I like having cleaning done. I don't like doing laundry, but I like having the laundry done. So as long as I could get those things done, I still felt like a great mom and wife, and I was happier and I was more patient, and it was just all around a better thing for everyone. So you guys need to figure out what works for your family and kind of that give and take and all that stuff. And yeah, and I think that's the beauty of the business. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom that doesn't have to clean or do laundry or do any of the crappy stuff that stay-at-home moms have to do. Like, yeah, sign me up for that. So that's really been awesome. What else? What do you
those lines, like, does it really matter who does the dishes as long as they get done? Like, let's be honest. So for us, it was, we homeschool too. So I actually hired a homeschool assistant because I had a lot of guilt, of course, with trying to manage homeschool and kids and the business. And so I hired someone to come help with the homeschool, and it was the best thing I ever did. Now he's home and he's the headmaster of our homeschool. So we just figured out, like I said, I think it's different for everybody, what's important for you in your marriage, because sometimes you don't care about the house. Maybe you care about you spending quality time with kids. Whatever it is, just figure out what works for your marriage, but realize, like, honestly, if someone else can do it just as good, does it matter how it gets done? Probably not.
Love it. There's a great question up here. It was about signing up your spouse. Amy asked, can you explain the benefits of signing your spouse up under you on your weak side and how that helps you build your business? That is a great question. Okay, so the benefits of it is that basically you just get to maximize the comp plan. So legally, I mean, like, you're just supporting your spouse, you're running it together. And by running it together, that simply means you are well aware that she is helping you grow the business, right? So he's a 5-star diamond in his first business center, and he's a 1-star in his second business center, and he's never done a business thing in his life, but we work this together. And so he's a bad A. So that's really great. But what happened was, because I signed him up on my weak leg and then have built around him, you are going to build around that spot regardless, whether it's your spouse or whether it's Sally from down the street. That person is going to benefit greatly as you build around them. So 6 years into this, I mean, he's making about $2,000 a week because he has that spot, and I've built my business just like I would have otherwise around that spot. And so that is, I mean, insert income disclaimer, you got to work hard and show up, whatever. But like, there's so much value in working this together and just maximizing the comp plan. They allow you to have a second business center under your spouse, like another one. So you might as well benefit from it. And that's the way to do it. So do you guys have anything else to say about that part? No.
Jake had a different take on it, which I've never heard him say that, but go for it.
It's like having a free coach. You don't have to go out and find them. You've already found them. You just got to sign them up.
So it gives you that momentum from the start that you instantly have a life you can change. You instantly get your first coach. But long term, I mean, we'd be missing a huge chunk of our income if he wasn't at the top. So I'm grateful that I listened to Jalen, because same, I didn't have the money to sign him up, but I listened to Jalen, and I'm really glad I did, because we'd be missing a huge chunk of income if I hadn't listened. So, yeah.
Yeah, and there's some questions about maybe a spouse getting on their strong leg. That's totally fine too. Totally fine. You can build the business however, there's just different strategy behind it. So we teach the weak leg because that just gives you more control, but you can, Jalen said, Greg's business center makes as much or more than her business center does because of where he's at and because of how she's built. So equally awesome. So yeah, you don't no freaking out. You can make either of them work. But moral of the story, you want your spouse for sure to leverage that. Were there any other questions that I missed? I'm trying to see if there's any.
Headmaster level.
You guys want to hear that?
Oh my God. So cute. Okay. Oh, here's one. Did you guys feel uncomfortable at first with your wife posting pictures in a sports bra and shorts or swimsuits for her progress pictures?
Are we unmuted? Yes.
Yeah.
Did you feel uncomfortable, Jeff, or no?
No. There's kind of some family issues, though. You know what I mean? There's like some sister-in-laws, and I'm sure my mom probably shrugged her shoulders a couple times, but.
I think a lot of it too is if you know, Micah's target market, like who she's kind of going after. I mean, it's not like she's posting those pictures to get comments from guys and this stuff on, like, I mean, she's trying to attract other moms and people that she relates with. And so, I mean, if you look at it that way, I mean, it shouldn't be, I mean, she's not just putting it out there to.
I'm not doing my sexy poses, you know. I saved those for just JD. For real though, like progress pictures, like do you feel more unattractive than when you do the progress picture poses? Like I always tell JD, I'm like, this is the worst. I feel my worst when I'm like doing these stupid poses. So the fact that we have to put those out there, we're not doing it to like impress any men, I can promise you that. But that is definitely something that I can see why men would be like, oh, that's weird. You're my wife.
I didn't ever worry about him caring because he was like, heck yeah, wear a bikini. I'm like, no, I'd never worn a bikini in my life. So like sewing my stomach, I was like, this is so bad. My mom's going to kill me. Like my mom, I'm like a 30-year-old and I'm worried my mom's going to kill me. So, and my grandma, seriously, I was like so scared. I almost blocked her a few times. Like, but really they understand because I've stuck with it too. This is a business and that's what we do. Like, how do you show progress if you're fully clothed in jeans and a sweatshirt? So I think just understanding like you're not doing like scandalous poses. Like it really is just a before and after and not making it more than that. That's all it is. You see more when you go to the city pool. So whatever.
Yeah. That was a good one though. Okay, just how can I best support my wife? That was one of the questions. How can you best support your wife? Or what advice would you give?
I think honestly, like it goes back, I mean, there's been, I feel like lots of comments on this. I mean, and every family is going to be different. But looking back, like in our situation, I honestly feel like just the emotional support. I think for me, initially, I was the one given the grunts and the just yeah, I mean, making small comments instead of just seeing what I could do to help her, just support her. I think just that emotional support, I think from your spouse, I mean, they should be your biggest supporter. And I think that really hurts just when they're not just rooting for you. And so, yeah.
I think just ask them, honestly, what do you need? How can I best support you? Because we're all so different. So just really having that conversation with your spouse to see what she needs. Maybe she just needs a cheerleader. Maybe she needs you to watch your daughter while you put her to bed while she gets on a team call. Like, help her do the things that are going to move her business forward. So whatever you can do in that aspect, for sure. There was another one. Husbands, did you feel uncomfortable with your life being shared on social media? Do you have any complex around being fit with your wives being coaches?
So Jake saw that one and he's like, I want to answer that one.
So we go out a lot and actually started getting recognized by people. And it kind of freaks me out a little bit. So we have no idea who these people are. We went to Topgolf Thursday, and one of the waitresses came up and said, "Are you Ashley McClellan? Or are you a famous Instagrammer?" Yeah. But I don't know. It was weird at first, but now I don't have a problem with it. It's what it is. It's business. It's getting her face and name out there.
Jalen, why don't you talk about that for a sec with like your guys' situation with him being a cop and everything? Because you've had to be like super private, and how did you manage that?
Yeah. So I asked him, I'm like, what did you feel about that? He's like, no, just the cop stuff. So I really didn't share a lot about his job until he was basically done with it. Because of that. So I just included him in the family or, our family fun days or our workouts, but I really didn't mention what he did for a job. I didn't mention where we lived. So there's
We had
ways
to change our name.
So like he had a different last name, a totally different name altogether. I had my maiden name so that like a lot of my coaches didn't even know my real name was not Barnes. So like there's ways you can still share your life without sharing absolutely everything. And so, yeah, like that's just what we did is we just talked about everything else in our life because him being a cop wasn't our full life,
Okay, did I miss any? I was trying to scroll through these and see. Did I miss any? If I missed one of your questions, just post it again at the bottom. It's so funny, Erin.
If your husbands work out with you or not. That was one.
Oh, do your husbands? Well, yeah, I think they kind of all mentioned it. JD does. What do you guys do?
Jake doesn't.
I used to, kind of, sometimes, a little bit.
I go in spurts.
My hubby's more consistent than me, so whatever.
But I don't do your programs always.
He's doing 21 Day Fix right now, and he loves the high-waisted women's pants and all the chatter. It's his favorite.
I will say this though, Jake is he's really good at using the products. I think he's better at drinking Energize than I am. So he Energize, when he did construction, he would take tubs of Recover with him so he could have Recover afterwards. And Shakeology is not an everyday, but it's pretty frequent. So he may not do the workouts, but he does use the supplements.
Yeah, that's how JD is too. He's like, do you want to talk?
Well, I use all the supplements.
Like, what would you say to a spouse that's like, man, that's not my thing. I don't want to use the supplements. I don't want to do Beachbody workouts.
What would you say to them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you can't
Put 'em on
force
the
them to do
spot.
it. Yeah,
I know. Well,
But
that's how I
but
feel
the thing
too.
is,
You
like,
can't
there's-
force your spouse.
Yeah, but they're solid products though, because it's like, I mean, I used supplements before, and I mean, I love Energize. I'm the same way. Like, I have a tub of Energize in my truck, and so always. And so, like, I love Energize. I love Recover. Yeah, like I just like supplements in general, and so, I mean, it doesn't hurt giving it a try. I mean,
Yeah. Really though, like, I feel like when you're all in with the business, you're like all in with the business. And I think that kind of goes for your spouse too. You can like your other workouts and whatever, but like at least do them every once in a while with your wife to support her and drink Shakeology. It's good for you. If you don't like the taste, like add some peanut butter and plug and chug. Like, just, it's good for you. Just be a grown up and drink it. Like, I don't know.
and I will say, like, I mean, for the last 5 years, like, I don't work out more than 30 minutes a day. And I mean, and it's not always, I mean, and there's weeks that I don't work out all 5 days, but I mean, I've been pretty consistent, but I feel like I'm in better shape, or I at least don't fluctuate like I used to, like when I was playing, and like I'd get really heavy and then lean out. And like, I just feel like, I mean, for the last probably, 6 years, I mean, I've stayed within probably 3-4 pounds. And so, and I think it's just being consistent, using this, like,
You really do just create a lifestyle around it. And like, why wouldn't you just want to live a healthy lifestyle? So you might as well jump on board, because the more you get on board with it, the more your wife will get on board with it, the more excited she'll get, the better results she'll get, the hotter she'll get, the more she'll be successful. Like, it all just like goes hand in hand. So I don't know. Just
one thing Greg does too is he wears a ton of like the wear and share. Like and it's easier for him because people recognize Insanity and P90X and there's like the stigma with women being in MLMs, but dude, he's got no shame. He wears his Shakeology shirts to like when he was in physical therapy, and like he will bring it up.
It brings up conversation, so it's kind of nice. And then he just like shoves them to me, but it works. So I mean, there's good stuff you can do to support and just be like, yeah, my wife will get in touch with you if you're not doing it yourself. But I don't know. There's lots of ways you can still be supportive without like working the business.
Totally. Okay, you guys, I think that's about it. Unless there's anything that you like are just dying to ask, you've got like 29 seconds. I'll have to check out the men's apparel line. There you go, Decker. There you go. No, for real though, like if I look at my closet,
that right there,
what?
Something about drinking Monsters.
If I look at my closet, it's like 98% Beachbody provided. Where do you see Monsters? Oh, here it is. My hubby takes pre-workout to work in the mornings, makes me feel happy because he used to drink Monster energy drinks and would get really shaky. Yep, he loves a fruit punch. That was totally JD too.
Yeah, like I lived on energy drinks when I was in school. I'm kind of a caffeine junkie, and so yeah, I love Energize.
I love Energize. Okay, you guys are fun. We need to hang out more. But for real, get to the events with your spouse. Like, it seems pretend when you don't know any of the real humans behind what she's actually doing. When I took him, did we go to Cancun? Was that your first event? That was a good first event.
Yeah, I know.
So I took him to Cancun on one of the Success Club trips. That's like when he was like, okay, this is legit. Like, this is real. He saw corporate. He saw Carl talk. He heard the heart behind the mission of the company and what we were doing. And like, just get your spouse on, like, just in it with you, because when they're on the outside, they don't get it. They don't understand your excitement. They think you're weird. Whatever, like, help them get the bigger picture and be a part of it. Help them get to know the other husbands, bring them to Super Saturday, bring them to whatever. It's all going to help. And I know it's hard with kids, you guys, I get it. You got to do like the juggle, find a babysitter, whatever, but it's so worth it. I promise. And it's way more fun. It goes from my business, my Beachbody business, to our Beachbody business and our life we're creating because of this incredible blessing. And you guys, it is the same for all of us. And that is what is so freaking rad. Whatever, like, if you don't know where you want to go in life, have that conversation with your spouse. What do you want our days to look like? How do we want to spend our mornings? What do we want to do every single day? Where do we want to live? Where do we want to travel? How, like, get clear on all of those things, because you have this and it is your gateway to every single thing that you want. And when you get clear on what you want, you'll be willing to do the things it takes to get there. So showing up consistently, doing the things that sometimes you don't feel like doing, you're going to do them anyways. And when you have your spouse in your ear going, hey babe, did you send those invites? Where are you at for Success Club? How many coaches have you added this week? How are we growing? What's your next goal? Like, get them on board with you, because that's when it's fun, when you're not just trying to do it by yourself. So anything else, guys? Wrapping it up. You guys are like having way more fun than I am in the chat thread. I need to get caught up on this. But thanks for hanging out, guys. You guys are truly awesome. husbands, wives, whoever the spouses, thank you for real for letting them sign up and for being their other half and for just being on the journey with them. If you can jump on with them even stronger, then it just gets more fun. So game on. Bye, Hattie. All right, you guys have a good night, and we'll do this, I don't know, another time. We'll hang out again. Okay. See you guys.